The Minnesota Timberwolves took Game 1 of the Western Semis against the defending champion Nuggets behind a transcendent 43-point explosion from Anthony Edwards and a brilliant defensive strategy to slow down Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets' offense. In their last meeting of the regular season, the Wolves stuck Rudy Gobert on Aaron Gordon and had Naz Reid guard Jokic. Karl Anthony Towns was injured and didn't play in this game, and the obvious idea here is that one big takes Jokic, while Gobert roams off Aaron Gordon to help because he's their weakest shooter. We've seen teams do this before. The Lakers famously tried it by having Rui Hachimura guard Jokic last year, and before that the 76ers switched PJ Tucker onto him and let Joel Embiid roam around protecting the rim. And the idea here is to sort of muck up the Nuggets' flowing offense by stationing a shot blocker right in front of the basket. So in a normal isolation situation, Gobert wants to help on the post-up while they keep an eye on Gordon on the baseline, and then recover out to the shooters as quickly as possible in order to never really give Denver a clear advantage on the possession. But Minnesota took this to another level against the Nuggets' pick and roll game, where he can roam into the paint so Jokic's defender can stay with him on the roll. And sure enough, the Wolves went to this right out of the gate, with Karl Anthony Towns basically ignoring Murray off the screen because he knows Gobert is goalkeeping right in front of the rim. This is the exact same tactic we saw Boston use against Embiid last year, where the idea is to take away that roll pass and funnel the ball into a shot blocker. One subtle component here is that the on-ball defender needs to stay connected around the screen to push the ball handler inside the three-point line, forcing him into a mid-ranger or all the way to Gobert. And they were happy to let Peyton Watson shoot this instead of Jokic. This time, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's hounding Murray around the pick, but Cat doesn't trust Gobert behind him and stays with the ball too long, and so Murray can hit that pocket pass and Gordon does his baseline high wire act. And this is what the Nuggets want, to spring Murray with a strong pick, force Jokic's defender to pick up the ball, and from there we all know the drill. So the brilliance of this tactic is that it takes away Jokic's decision making and forces Murray to attack against the shifted defense. And this isn't easy to break down, with Gobert playing the ball in Gordon, Edwards playing Gordon in the corner, and Conley's playing the ball in the wing. So if the spacing isn't pristine, you end up with no obvious outlet for the ball handler, who gets pushed into the wall of Gobert. And look at Cat on this, literally turn his back to the ball to take away Jokic and make the possession uncomfortable. Watch how quickly the Wolves rotate here. Michael Porter Jr. sheds Edwards on the handoff, Cat stays with Jokic, the low man rotates over, Reid sits on the corner pass, and Alexander Walker rotates to the wing. So the only brief opening is actually directly behind the ball handler, and that's an incredibly hard pass to make. Denver does much better with different spacing here by filling the strong side corner with a shooter, so when Gobert slides over to contest, there's only one defender left to rotate to Gordon. Murray can then hit that corner, and it's a great look. Here's one with two shooters on the near side and Gordon space to the far side corner. And Rudy's depth is so key here because he can clog Gordon's cut while contesting the driving lane. And that's just a nonsensical shot from Jamal Murray, who will apparently do that to Gobert every few years in the playoffs. Anyway, Gobert's positioning and ability to recover in short spaces make this hard to attack. Jokic finally springs free this time. Rudy is there, but can also play the lob. Yeesh. And we saw this recoverability when he was roaming off Gordon too, sliding to Jokic, then breaking up the pass. And it wasn't easy for Denver to find shots at the basket because of this, and even on KCP's delivery, it takes Reed kind of screening off Rudy for Jokic to get this up. Gobert's roaming also made entry passes to Jokic tough. Nas fronts him here, and Rudy's long enough to break up the lob over the top. And on this one, he's cross-matched with the smaller Edwards. Alexander Walker calls it out, so Rudy can come down and prevent Joker from even shooting and still recover to take away a highlight pass. So by sitting on Jokic's roll and having Rudy lurk around, there were fewer Joker rumblings that led to his patented offensive rebounds, because it's harder for him to back his man under the rim when Gobert is sitting there, and you end up with more fadeaway shots like this. The Nuggets grabbed just 4 offensive boards all night, which was their lowest total since New Year's Day 2023, and I think this Gobert roaming was a huge reason for that. Denver goes to a bread and butter screen for Jokic here, and Gobert is waiting to just pick up Joker because Gordon isn't a threat just standing at the elbow. Then Jokic wants to dribble Rudy into the basket. He's long enough to contest, and Reed coming over actually prevents the offensive rebound and ends the trip. Note that the roaming doesn't work when there's a shooter in the corner. Nas ignores KCP here, and Jokic can make that pass to Caldwell Pope in his sleep. Joker was also quick to back down Gobert in isolation, and since the Wolves weren't helping, there were definitely a few easy looks for him out of this matchup, and it'll be interesting to see if Minnesota continues to let them play one-on-one in these spots. But otherwise, this is just a really cool chess match. Gobert is roaming off Justin Holiday here. He tells Kyle Anderson to slide up toward him, and watch how everyone recovers when Jokic picks up the dribble. Gobert slides back to the block as Nikhil recovers to the corner, and Anderson falls for Jokic's head fake. Otherwise, this would have been defensive perfection. This time they try to force Mike Conley to switch onto Murray, but Jaden McDaniels doesn't concede the switch. Then he avoids Jokic's screen to stay connected to Jamal, and this thing is just going nowhere, and it's not easy for Joker to pull a rabbit out of his hat from 25 feet away. Here's one where the Wolves are smaller with Reed at center guarding Jokic, so they send a double, the defense recovers, and then on the repost, Nas pokes it away. And the Nuggets actually forced Jokic into 7 turnovers in this game, with Reed forcing a couple himself, McDaniels using his gangly spider arms to derail him on a drive, and even Ant caught him off guard once with his superhuman athleticism, taking a basic pass the other way for a bunny. Of course, Edwards was the other story in this game. And we'll get to the offense, but he authored some incredible defensive plays in this one, including the opening possession where he chased Jamal Murray around before a 3-second violation in what could be described as the platonic ideal of perimeter defense. My goodness. That was actually outdone by this play where he switched onto Jokic, comes off him to block MPJ, and that springs Cat in transition for a huge and one dunk. And I have no clue how Ant jumped backwards and got that kind of elevation. Oh yeah! His athletic gifts were on display on offense, just powering Reggie Jackson into a layup here, and his eyes lit up in the second quarter when Jackson switched onto him, and without a double, he discarded him like a piece of lint for a little midi. Denver didn't send much extra attention towards Edwards, so his decision-making wasn't challenged in this game. That was a nice pocket pass to set up an open Cat 3, and late in the game against the same pick-and-roll coverage, he made this beautiful skip pass to the corner that uncorked Nas for a huge and one. So they actually defended Ant pretty well without having to send a bunch of extra help. It's just his shot making was too good. KCP's draped all over him, and he turns into Minnesotan Michael Jordan. He had a bunch of these big buckets in the fourth quarter, including this insane dance with Gordon that wasn't suitable for work. But my favorite was this one to seal the game, where KCP is stuck on his hip. He tells Kat to empty the corner, and the only reason to do this is so there's space to set up the absurd fadeaway, and that was all she wrote. We will see what kind of answers Denver can provide in Game 2 after Murray struggled with the length of either Edwards or McDaniels. Jokic couldn't play his normal game, and there were basically no offensive rebounds for the Nuggets. Because in Game 1, Coach Chris Finch's game plan built around Rudy Gobert and that swarming defense held Denver to a 109 offensive rating to take a 1-0 series lead. To support this channel, check out patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. That's where we have our live playoff stat board that updates throughout the postseason. We should also mention Naz Reid just had a huge spurt late in this game alongside Ant to propel Minnesota to victory. Thanks for watching this one all the way through. And of course, wherever you're watching from, I hope you're having a great day.